I'm here to talk about my journey as an army officer and what led me to be an army officer. So, what is the most important thing when you achieve things in life? That is the after side of it, right? But what led you to achieve those things in life? What is that most important thing? It is your dream, right? It is something that what you want to be. When you were a child, I think many of us have been asked, like, what do you want to become? And someday you say, I want to be a doctor, and someday you say that I want to become an engineer. Someday you'll see there'll be children who will really, shock the parents by saying that I would love to become a mechanic too, right? But it keeps changing. And so it was the same with me, but there was something different about it. My dream of joining the forces didn't start anywhere during my college days or anywhere after the college, or it was not like an option that was given to me. This seed was born in my head and in my DNA, I think, in my first standard. Because I happen to reside at a place which is it's called a cantonment area where you have this army establishments there. And I grew up seeing these people doing their daily routines and all, and it really interested me. And the most interesting part was when we had this annual days in the school, we had these people invited as a chief guest. And they would come with that, it was like that shining armor that, a person is wearing, and so beautiful. Like, there's nothing better that anybody could wear, I guess. And the person who came to our school the first time, which impressed me, was he was an artillery officer. And artillery has the best uniform ever. Okay, so that really caught my attention. And then I happened to ask my teacher, like, how do I get into this? And then I think she felt I'm too small to understand how to go about, and she said, you just be good at sports and you can be there. You know? Like anybody could feed my thought, and she just said sports, and you won't believe I was so focused into sports that nothing took any interest for me. I achieved becoming the youngest person at the district level. My event was 1,500 meters run, and I had completed it at really fast, created a record. And I didn't know it because my goal was not that. My goal was to become an army officer. But then there was a lull period in my 11th and 12th because there was nothing related to sports or nothing related to army or NCC or anything, but then it was still bothering me. But when I joined my degree, and that is where the NCC came, and that brought life to me. And that's where I joined the NCC Army Wing, and I took up that course very seriously, but because I could not give up much of studies, I could not go to the RD parade, which happens in Delhi. But I came out with flying colors by getting my C certificate from there. So that's how my journey started. So why am I taking you through this is, my interest in becoming something was way back when I was a child and I was in the first standard. And that kind of became, a mission for me. I looked at it as a vision. And that vision was a mission for me to complete it, and I had to reach the end result. And none of my family members knew that, I had put in the notification for the army. And when I got the call letter, my dad was firstly shocked, and then he said, "Okay, you're sure?" But he on a lighter side, he said, "Don't worry if you don't make it." I said, "Okay." But then when I went there, had no idea how the thing happens. But my only passion was, focus was, then I need to crack this exam, come what may. And when I go there, I see 82 people who are, contesting for this particular exam. And the first day, they slash it down to 40, okay? Half of you are going home. So the first day goes happily in the 40s. Then next, it's a 4 days of grilling and rigorous exams that happen, where you also have the physicals, you also have the group task, and you have a lot of psychological tests where you're writing stories, and a lot of things. And then there's something called a conference where you have the UPSC board which is sitting in front of you, and they individually kind of gauge you. And all that happened, and it was just, I was just going by the flow. And out of 40 or 42 of us who were part of that entire exam, they said that only 3 have made it. I'm like, okay. I think that is what my dad said, it's okay if you don't make it. So, your heart beats fast, and I still remember my chest number 8. And chest number 1 was called out, selected. Chest number 3, selected. There's just one more, and another 38 people to go, and chest number 8. So you can imagine the kind of rush in me. And then I thought, okay, that is over. But after that came the medicals. We had 3 days of medicals. And then after that, I thought, it's over, I'm selected. But no, there's something called a merit list, which comes after 3 months from the time you give your exam. And oh my God, those 3 months were the worst days of my life, where every day in, day out, I used to wait, think, pray, like, because my dad had already announced that I've joined the army, I've got selected for the army, and everybody thought, all that pressure on me. But luckily, by God's grace, and not just by God's grace, my hard work, I made it in the merit list, and so it all happened in the first attempt. So my passion just took me there. And then I joined my officers training academy, which is at Chennai, if anybody is aware. So I don't know if you can figure out, the person in the middle is me. So, so that was during our training days. And so there was one thing about the army training. Unfortunately, our country is still conservative, okay? Why do I say that? We women were given a training of 6 months, and we had to match, and we had to pass out with gentlemen cadets who were given training for 11 months. Okay, and I still didn't understand the dynamics behind it, and nor did we fight for it or ask it, but we were like, okay, we have to finish the training, and we had to do it. And those were the days where we were put under a lot of, very hectic schedules. So what happened there was, my passion was put to test. It tried to check me if I still want to be there. But amazingly, something else happened was the kind of endurance that it built in me. But later in life, I realized that if you're going to be part of these forces, it is that endurance which is required, because you're going to go through a lot. And as a lady officer, it is not easy. Because if everybody else is like putting in, say, 60% or 70%, when I say everybody else, it's the gentlemen officers, you have to, as a woman, we had to put in 110% to show what, we are doing. So the ups and downs are a lot, because whenever we used to go to the exercises, so it was very difficult for them to understand that, they were confused, as lady officers were new still for them, and they were like, where would they go to the washrooms? And what would we do with them when they are down? And how do we even take care of them? Because I was always a single woman with 750 troops around me. When I say troops, they were all those Jawans who were around us and who had to take care of, who were under me. There were 750 of them, and I'm the single woman. So that is how it was. So every time it was a question from others, and you are always proving it, right? And I think that wouldn't have been possible if I had that passion instilled in me at that time. And because the day I used to wake up and wear that uniform, everything else changed. My chest would just go broad, and I would feel so proud wearing those stars. And and I would feel that kind of energy in me that I have earned it, and I've got to live it. And every day it keep pushing my strengths in, I need to do it even better. I need to achieve it. And mind you, at that time, there was nothing called a permanent commission for lady officers. We had something called 4 plus 4 plus 5 years. That's like you only get an opportunity to serve the nation for 14 years. 5 plus 5 plus 4, sorry. So what happens is, after 5 years, they will again ask you to sign a bond, and then after 5 years, they'll again ask you to sign a bond, and then after that, you're like, okay, fine, thank you so much for your service back home. So that is where we were all stuck. So the confusion was like, what next, right? But that didn't bog me down, because for me, it was living, wearing that uniform, and I got it, and I wanted to live it to the fullest. Now in the army, it is not all about what you hear or see. There are a lot of challenges. One thing was overcoming your fears, okay? And why this picture? I am also an instructor in microlight flying. I have 580 hours to my kitty, and I have done 67 solos precisely. And why did I take up this flying? Why a deviation from, army into this? Because I felt somewhere my passion was incomplete because of a little fear I had in me. I was scared of heights. And I felt that, this is not going along very well with me being an army officer. So what do I do? So we had a sort of, a joyride which was happening in our unit. And they made us fill a form and they said, if you want to do this course, you can get this signed by a commanding officer and you can come down. So surprisingly, my commanding officer allowed me. That was the biggest thing that he did. That was the biggest help that he had done to me because usually they had to let go of you for 3 to 4 months from the unit to do this course. And he did that. So I'm really grateful to him as on today. And trust me, when I took up this course, you could have imagined me. The first day, I just ripped apart the shirt of my instructor because of the gravity and all that. And he was like, are you sure you want to do this course? Were you not aware that you're going to fly an aircraft at an altitude of 1,200 or, this goes up to maximum of 2,300 because it's a microlight. So I said, I am aware because you can't say that, I'm scared of heights. So I said, no, I'm very much aware. It's just that, it's my first day. After my 15 hours of flying, I happened to I had a stall from 300 feet. And I had crashed the aircraft real bad. That is where I learned something else. Firstly, I was damn scared of heights. And now this crash happened. The most devastating thing that could have ever happened in my life. It's like, I'm getting more into the mire of fear of heights. But that is when the chief flying instructor comes to me and he says, I was holding both the tires in my hand and, walking down, I'm saying, I'm sorry, I just crashed it. He said, it's okay, just keep that aside. And then he said, sit down. And he made me sit again in the aircraft. He took it off. And the whole flight, the sortie that I did was like so wonky. I didn't know my parameters. I didn't know my altitude. I didn't know what I was doing, what is right, what is left, nothing. He allowed me to fly. And then I took up to such a great height, which I should not have been. Then he said, okay, now calm down. We are approaching the landing. Now what do you do? And he got me into the focus, and he allowed me to land. Second sortie, third sortie, fourth sortie. Then he made me do almost 10 sorties that day. And I was like, is he mad? I'm like, I just crashed it and why are you doing this? He only wanted me to get out of that fear. Had he not brought me up that day again to the aircraft, I think I wouldn't have ever overcome that fear. But what I want to bring out here is it's always that passion which is in you. And if you keep feeding it with the right sense of, thought, and I think you don't have to even look at other opportunities like, what if I don't make this? You think something and it will and it should happen. There's nothing which it can disrupt it from happening. That's exactly what I did. So the second phase of my life where I took over my fears and where I felt that today I'm a complete officer because I'm off all the fears. And this was my flying team. So that's my Zen Air, which I crashed once. And the achieving, the most satisfying part is when I became a flying instructor, I didn't know that I was a second lady officer who was an instructor, and nobody after me has become an instructor again. And I was training all the generals and the brigadiers. So I had students who were generals and brigadiers, and they were doing their solos under me. One thing which I learned in the army was, and on the way is like, there's always that thing of officers and, grades and ranks and all that. But being along with the troops and, staying with them and living the life with them, you tend to learn more than what you should, and that really helps you. So I always love spending my time with the troops, because they used to do a little more of a hard work to reach there than I would have as an officer. So I always spend time with them, and I wouldn't say like, I'm an officer, I'm not meant to do all this, no. I used to do the entire cleaning, the maintenance, and everything. So never reach to a step in life where you say that, I have achieved everything and feel that, I am there. Always look back and always look at, what else can I learn? And that will keep you going, and that will keep making you a very, very successful person. So what I'm trying to get at every point is, when you work with your passion, if you know what is your passion, right, and what you wanted, There's nothing more in life. If you can get to work with what you were passionate about, what else can you ask for? Life is so beautiful. You just don't have to get up every day and, push yourself, oh God, again, one more day of office, I have to go, one more day of this. You don't have to struggle. You're just enjoying every day. And that will take you to, places wherever you want to, right? Why this picture specifically? I'm the only lady officer, and my subordinates are below me and my officers above me. I think in the entire exercise, we were only 3 lady officers, and those 2 other lady officers I never met because we didn't know where they were deployed. But I used to stay alone in my own tent taking care of my thing. And everybody, my mom, my parents used to really get worried whenever I used to give them a call or a video call or something. They were like, what are you doing? Are you okay? I'm like, I'm absolutely fine. I'm like, because this was something which I chose and I'm really happy doing it, right? And yes, I'm every day proving it, but that's okay. Later what happened is that proving part became so good in my life is that there was nothing in life which I felt I cannot achieve. So difficulties as a woman is there, but I think there's nothing that you cannot do. So joining army was like something my parents wouldn't have even thought, okay? I didn't even join army, I even flew the aircraft, I'm an instructor. And after that, I also exited out of the army because of my personal reasons, not because of a reason of my own. I didn't want to do it willingly, but I had to leave the army. But then always there should be a plan B, right? You cannot say that what now? World cannot come to a standstill. So what do you want to do next? I have to step into the corporate world. So how do I prep myself for that? Nothing to worry. So what next? So then I happened to go and join the IIM Ahmedabad, where I have done my executive MBA. That was another milestone because it was my dad's dream that I had to get into one of the best business schools, which I didn't do, but I joined the army. So I wanted to fulfill that for him later in life. So I went to IIM Ahmedabad, graduated from there, and then I moved to Goldman Sachs as my first job in corporate. And then from there, I became an entrepreneur for 6 years. I had my own company, which was called Security India Consulting Services. And we had a sister concern again open called Neo Infotech Technology. And after that, then I felt now my children and my family need some time because business is not that easy. You need to give in your 110% for it all the time. But I wanted to be at home and take care, but not give up my career. So again, stepped back into the corporate. I worked with Wipro and recently moved from there. And I've joined a multinational company, which is one of the Fortune 5, it's a 5th company in the Fortune 500. And I'm handling the regions of Karnataka and Chennai and Coimbatore. So my journey didn't stop just because my passion ended somewhere else. But yes, even given an opportunity, if you come to my home, you will see my uniform is still hanging there. Though I may not fit into it right now, but after a few days I might, I surely will. But given an opportunity, I would anytime jump into it and serve the nation. So that is how passionate I am about the job. So passion is something which led me to it. And that's it from my end. There is one thing I just want to say is, if you want to be there and if you want to achieve something in life, it's not about how and why and how you can do it. It's about you want to do it and you just need to do it with your hard work and you will be there. So it's hard work and passion is all that you require and the determination to do it and a little bit of discipline and a self-control. And I'm sure there is nothing that can stop you in life. Thank you a lot, all of you.